Hello, folks. And hello, folks. Sorry about that. Brief little scene trouble here at the beginning of Earworms. Of course, it wouldn't be Earworms without technical difficulties, would it? So, anyway, a couple of things I need to say. First of all, our thoughts and prayers are with Alex Petty. Alex Petty was going to be showing his music this evening and joining us, but he is unable to join us because of a family emergency. That's about all I'll say. But obviously, in the future, he is more than welcome to come on Earworms, and yeah, great artist, and we will have some time with him. But it's just not possible this weekend. Also, tonight we do have a great guest appearance. Someone known as Swap Shop or World of Swap Shop. Many kind of things dealing with swapping in shops, and he is basically the author of some stories that are Star Wars fan fiction, but really good fan fiction. And we're going to be talking to him about his latest work, and there's a history to it that we'll also be talking about it as well. So anyway, what else was I going to say? Oh yes, Mr. Mike Goyley is not able to join us this evening. He is not feeling well. So there's a lot of bad luck going around out there, but we're still here and we're going to make it all work out. So without further ado, I'm going to invite on the stage my partner in crime, Mrs. Liza Sahido of the Psyche Electroacoustic Opera Company. Hello, Liza.
Hello.
Sounding good.
Really?
Yes,
I'm not
you are.
I'm not seeing an audio visualizer.
Yeah, well, Evie Mux, there's got to be at least one thing going wrong.
Uh,
Wait a minute there. Now I'm seeing something that I believe you made.
Well, the thing is, since we're missing Mike Gorley tonight, we needed another host because I'm not so great of a host, so I'm bringing on the one, the only Inga.
That's Inga live right now.
That is Inga live.
That's our calico. Her name's Inga,
Yes.
and
Yes.
it looks like she's willing to do this. That's
Oh,
awesome.
yes. So she'll be sitting in for Mike today. Welcome, Mr. Swap Shop. And by the way, Mister, you've already received a super chat from Flav.
Oh,
10
awesome.
pounds.
Oh, well, thank you very much, Flav. We're going to read your comment in just a bit, but let's introduce Swap Shop. We don't want him just waiting in the wings forever, so here we go. He doesn't have an intro video, but I'm going to give him one anyway. All right, so here we go. Please welcome from across that Atlantic Ocean, Mr. Swap Shop.
Good evening, everybody. How are we doing? How are we doing? Good to meet you in so many words, Liza and Lawrence, for the first time. Thanks for the
Oh,
invite.
it's great to have you. And
Thank you for
yeah,
coming on. Yeah.
yeah, the story is good, and that's why you're on. It's a very good story. There we go. That's a better appearance for us. It's a very good story, and it's in the format of a radio drama or audio drama, I guess.
Yeah,
But basically,
it's currently in two formats actually, but the radio drama is the latest one. That's kind of the more palatable version, I suppose, really, that people would prefer to listen to because they don't have to read. I guess they can do other things while they're listening to it. So that's the more preferred option, I guess, for most people, the more popular option. But I've had the written version done for like quite a few months now. But yeah, I'm just going through chapter by chapter, creating audio versions of it.
Well, that's what I was going to ask because I was, listening to some of Brown's old streams, and this was about a year ago, going back to when he started, which was like in late 2020 into early 2021 is when he started getting going. And you
Hmm.
were one of the early guests on his show,
Yeah,
and you were already talking about it then. And
yeah.
and so I was going to see. I mean, it's the same work basically, I believe, right?
It is. It's the same story. Yeah. I mean, geez, I've been writing it. Well, I started writing back in 2018.
Oh wow.
So life gets in the way and stuff. So you can't. It's not like a regular paid author's job where they can sit and for 12 hours a day and bang out all this material and have it done within like a year or two. So life gets in the way and other things and jobs and all that sort of thing. So it's taken a long time to do it. But and it's not just been one story. It's actually two stories. But one big story that I've split down the middle. So the one I'm doing at the moment is the first story. But I was the first time I was on Mr. Brown's channel. Yeah, back in what year that was now.
That was early 2021, I believe.
Yeah,
It
it
was
was
right after the holidays.
when we had lockdowns and things. You're right. Yeah,
Yeah.
because we had to have something to do, right?
Yeah.
So he invited me on. So we all sat there having a laugh. It was great. The early days when we only used to have about 3 people listening, and 2 of those were our parents, but and the other one was a cat. But
It's like us now.
absolutely, you've got to start somewhere, right? But
Exactly.
they were amazing. They were so much fun. I used to love doing those, and it's still fun now. I can get a chance to go on there. But most of my time these days is spent writing and editing. In my spare time. This is my hobby now. This has become my hobby. But it does go right back to that year, and I've been working on it as much as I can ever since. Because for the people that I gave a preview to back then, gave me such a good reception that it kind of bolstered me and urged me on to finish it. So I have done. And I've sent out the finished version to people, but obviously people have got very, very busy lives and not everyone's got a chance to read. So that's when for ages, I've been thinking, wow, wouldn't an audio kind of dramatization be fun to do? If I could get a full cast in to help me do it, that'd be great, wouldn't it? And I thought, hang on a minute. I didn't really think about logistically how complicated that might be, getting a full cast of people, even like amateur dramatics and stuff. I thought, I've obviously bitten off more than I can chew with that idea. But luckily, within the last year, the wonders of AI have fallen into our laps on the internet, and it's allowed me to do a lot of things myself, shall we say?
Yeah.
So I thought, well, I'll give it a try and see what happens. So here we are right now, and you guys have obviously listened to a few that I've done.
Yeah. Well, the sound design is also a bit of a challenge. So even though maybe now you can access voices more easily, just mixing it all together.
Yeah.
Because folks, we'll be checking it out in a little bit, but definitely later you want to check it out on your own. But one thing you want to look out for is just all the sounds that are surrounding you in this full experience.
Yeah, I have tried to
Liza
make
just came
it.
into my room. I'm sorry. Hold on. What? What? Okay. All right. My volume is apparently a little low, so I am going to turn up. Okay. And so please proceed. I'm sorry. This is like Brown's old streams. We haven't gotten smooth yet.
No, that's good. I love those old rough streams with just chaos. I loved it.
Yeah.
They were the best. They really were.
Yeah, I really enjoyed them.
Brown's got all smooth and well produced now, and he's loved it as far as I'm concerned. So no, he hasn't. He hasn't. He knows I'm joking. It's
No,
fine.
he's real.
Yeah. I'm just enjoying. I'm quite enamored by the puss cat sitting on the screen.
I
I'm
know.
really
I can't
enjoying it.
believe she's still there.
Yeah, it's amazing. Yeah, we've been working on our revamping our studios, doing a spring cleaning and reorganizing. And there's a free spot in my shelf. And she decided right before the stream that she was going to sit there and just stare at me. So
You should get her own camera now and just have that every time you stream. Just have
yeah,
her in the
Well, that's
yeah.
up to her, man. I mean, we're just lucky tonight that she's there.
There shall be a permanent Inga cam. on
You should have
earwax.
that. You should definitely have that. I'd appreciate that. When people say they've got a dog or a cat or something near them or under the table or something, I'm like, well, show the pet for God's sake, please show the pet, and they never do. So I'm really enjoying this. It's great. It's very soothing. I love cats so much. So.
Cool.
Cool
Well,
beans.
let's take me back in time because you said you started this whole project in 2018, and just for our audience, I kind of know what the catalyst was. You should share with the audience what the catalyst may have been for
Yeah.
your own trilogy, Star Wars fan fiction,
Ooh.
and beginning kind of after, what was it, The Force Awakens?
Well, it was the catalyst for a lot of people starting YouTube channels, I think. But it was the Last
Yes,
Jedi.
yes, exactly.
And I don't know. I think I'd sort of ruminated for a couple of days after seeing that film, and then got very, very angry. You know, what are the certain stages of grief that you go through? You know, I was at the anger stage, and I, I, I think I got into arguing with people online to vent some steam, and people at work as well, which didn't go down too well. But I I was getting people sort of saying to me like, you know, oh, if it's so bad, if you're so critical of it, then why don't you write your own? And I just stopped for a minute and thought, and the thought just occurred to me, and I thought, you know what, that's not a terrible idea. I wonder if I could. So I went away, put a pencil in my hand, opened a notebook, and started writing, and I didn't stop for hours. These just ideas just kept flooding out of my head from somewhere. I don't know where. And I thought, wow, that's a good idea. I like that. Oh, that's a great idea. I like that. And it's just one thing led to another. And I just had this notebook full of these ideas I would love to see on screen. And I know with a lot of fan fiction, you can show a story to someone, they'll just dismiss it. Ah, fan fiction. It's just going to be full of Luke Skywalker fighting Darth Maul or some ridiculous stuff. You know, you just know
Hmm.
it's fantasy. It's ridiculous. But I've tried to ground it as much as possible and make it like it would be an actual movie that you would go and see, and try to improve on everything Disney did as well. Which I know it's a low bar for a lot of people, but I'm a big fan of the EU, and I wanted to
Hmm.
kind of try and approach that kind of level of storytelling. So that was my yardstick. That's the bar that I tried to make to try to reach when I was coming up with all the plot elements and everything and the characters, and I had to take the Force Awakens and use that as a springboard and adapt that to a second story leading straight on from it. But also, my idea for doing this story was to take the first part of The Last Jedi and kind of twist it a little bit. And then after a few chapters, it kind of springs off in a completely different direction into a completely different story with different characters and everything. And it's got nothing to do with The Last Jedi. The reason being is because the original story, I was going to knock out a rough version of it after I got all my ideas down and send it in my naivety, send it to Disney, J.J. Abrams, and say, look, I know you're in a pickle right now with the next movie, but consider these ideas because I think this will get you help get you out of a rut that this movie has written you into. And of course, unfortunately, the movie, they started working on that film way before I could ever get anything finished. So I just thought, well, I'm just going to make my own thing then. In that case, I've got too many good ideas here to just shelve it. I'm going to keep going ahead with it, and I'm enjoying it. So I did. Um,
Awesome.
and the whole point is that it plays out very, very similarly to The Last Jedi, which can be deceiving to a lot of people. And they might look at it and just go, oh, I'm not reading this. It's The Last Jedi again, you know. But it gets to a certain point where something happens that's not meta. That's not the word I'm looking for, but something very pivotal in The Last Jedi I've used to go off on a completely different tangent. So the story splits, and what happens afterwards completely rebounds off, and it tells a completely different story. And you've just got to get to that point, and then you're in a different realm. And at the moment, the chapters that I have written are similar, but there's a lot new that I've added as well. So people might be thinking, "Oh, this is just Last Jedi," but there's a lot of new stuff as well that people can experience before you get to that point. So there's enough to
Hmm.
keep people interested without thinking it's just a retread of what Disney have done. If you know what I mean.
Oh yeah. Well, like one thing when I was listening to chapter one, I was coming from the experience where basically I gave up after the Force Awakens. I
Hmm.
didn't get to see the Last Jedi.
Good for you.
Of course, I heard about it a lot, so
Yeah,
I guess I got the story pretty much in my head.
Neither of us saw The Last Jedi. I refused.
yeah. I don't blame you.
But yeah, and we remember back in that that time period, like Ivan Ortega made this different version,
Yes.
like a
Oh my
different
gosh.
ending to
Yeah.
The Last Jedi, and
Hmm.
there was all sorts of things going on. It was a time where, that's when YouTube really got a big bump,
Oh yeah.
So I came at it from that perspective, and also just enjoying the sound design and just the experience. I wouldn't definitely I would consider checking out the book. The thing with me is I have a vision problem, and for me, it's best to do things as audiobook.
I
With
know.
like
Yeah, I totally agree. I always prefer the audio over the reading. So this is one of the things that made me go to approach the audio drama, because I know there's a lot of people that are the same, and I've loved the audio drama versions of the EU books and even the original trilogy as well. And they're so well realized and acted, and with the great sound effects and stuff. And I just thought, wow, I'd love to make one of those myself. I may have really screwed up in respect to that. It's a hell of a lot of work, and I didn't realize before I started doing it. But I like the result. I like the end result, and it kind of once you finished hearing it, it bolstered you on to do more, because you think, wow, I did a really good job. I'm proud of myself. So, and if I get good feedback from anyone else as well, that really that helps an awful lot, because you need motivation with doing things like this. Otherwise, you shelve it and you forget it, and you never come back to it. So if people are enjoying it, man, that's all the praise I need, is someone actually enjoys it. And if you did, then I'm doing the right thing, obviously.
Okay, chat. How's my level now? I saw another one there from Jay Goodwin.
It's good to me.
All right.
It's better now, but it does fluctuate. Is that
I
EV
have
Mux
no idea.
messing with your levels?
Well, I went into the OS even, and the levels are fine there. All I could do is just turn up the gain here. I don't know if it's EV Mux doing it, then there's not much I can do about it.
Mr. Brown says more.
Okay. All right. Well, I'm looking at the visualizer. That looks pretty thick now. So,
Okay.
but if I'm still low, folks, just let me know. Jay, you're in the audience. Did you want to come on, man? It's up to you, but I still have your place here. So anyway,
Cool.
yeah.
Okay.
Let us take a look at the opening crawl. How about that?
Sure thing.
And
Let's do
I
it.
will say though, another option is like the audio book, because books do describe more than audio dramas,
Hmm.
because it has the author writing descriptive material and all that. And
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah.
so that's another consideration, is to actually have an audio book version, so that people get your description
Hmm.
and your words as an author, but they could just hear it, in case of, like in my case, I just don't, it's a visual problem,
Yeah.
and so they can hear and get all of the things that an author would put into their writing. So
That's
that's another
definitely good. Yeah, I
consideration.
might consider that. Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so I am calling up the crawl here. Let me make sure I get the right one, because if I don't, there we go. That's the one. All right. We should be. Let's see here. That is the one. No, that's coming up later, folks. Here we go. This is the one.
Oops.
All right. Yep. I kind of let the cat out of the bag, so to speak. There.
A long time ago, in a galaxy far, far away. Star Wars.
This is where I know I'm going to get a copyright, but it's going to be of the variety where they just take the monetization I don't have away from me. So
Yeah.
I'll keep it going.
Right. I'm excited.
Episode 8. Praxeum of the Pathfinders. Fight or flight. The galaxy reels in terror from the First Order's devastating surprise attack on the Hosnian system, home to the political center of the New Republic. Although the Resistance succeeded in destroying the apocalyptic Star-Killer superweapon, they remain vastly outmatched by the overwhelming might of Supreme Leader Snoke's tyrannical regime. In response, Snoke has dispatched Star Destroyers to obliterate the last remnants of the Alliance of Free Worlds and to hunt down the one person who might end his reign. The legendary Jedi Master, Luke Skywalker.
All right, let's pause right there. There's still more, but already from that point, you get the perspective where Luke isn't just some backdoor. Oh yeah, he was there in the past, kind of decoration to this. It's like he's
Mhm.
the pivotal part of the plot, and so forth. So I think that was pretty cool the way you did that there, and kind of like mentioning what is the real threat to this First Order at this point.
Sure.
Yeah. So anyway, I'll just keep playing.
Now armed with the complete map to the elusive Jedi and hoping to turn the tide against the enemy, Rey, a young Force-sensitive survivor from Jakku, has journeyed with Chewbacca and R2-D2 to the planet Ahch-To, determined to find Luke and bring him back to the Republic. As General Armitage Hux spearheads the First Order's assault to pursue and eliminate the Resistance at their headquarters on Dakar, General Leia Organa coordinates the urgent evacuation of their base. With each passing moment, the Resistance's window to escape grows narrower, and their survival hangs by a thread.
Okay. Is there anything more you'd like to say?
Apart from no, at that moment, that's when I would pan down to the planet and you'd get all the action happening, just like on, in the movies at that point.
Right. So what I'm going to do is I might as well load up the next chapter. But while I'm doing that, I'm going to go back to our flex mode here. So Liza, what do you remember from where The Force Awakens left off?
I try not to remember. I swear that I'd prefer to get into any fan fiction rather than watch these new movies or recall the Force Awakens. I was so angry when I left the theater when we went to go see the Force Awakens, and that anger has never left me. It's horrible. So, what do I remember from the Force Awakens? I was angry, and Mr. Swap, you can go back and rewrite that too. That's fine. So I have new Star Wars memories.
Well, he painted himself into a story already, so it's like, but yeah, I guess my main thing with The Force Awakens was just that, you could see they really wanted to kind of start over with doing Star Wars the same way it was with the original trilogy, with just some new force sensitive on a desert planet that
Mhm.
eventually finds themselves in space. But in this case, it wasn't as much training and growing. It was more like, okay, just acquiring skills automatically and so forth.
Mhm.
And but at the same time, it's like, well, what about this whole history of the First Order? How did that happen?
Yeah.
What's the scope of the New Republic? Like, what is it like? What is life like in the galaxy? And it's almost like, if they would have just started at a point where the New Republic is kind of established and fighting to maintain establishment, and the First Order is just starting to come in, and then you have Luke with his school, and you have Ben there, and you have Rey there, and they're both Force sensitives, and Ben can definitely take to the dark side and Rey to the light side. Fine. But it's almost like you're building a story at this point rather than doing flashbacks of the really important stuff, and you're actually engaged in that story, and that's kind of like what I felt that they should have done. Otherwise, it was just kind of like, it's like, all right, you're after The Force Awakens, one of the reasons to see the next movie is not to see what happens, but to see what happened beforehand, because I'm still not clear on this stuff. You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
Yeah.
So
The
anyway.
the thing about the Force Awakens is, I had a lot of problems with it, but as many as those problems were, I thought that there weren't things that couldn't be fixed with a sequel movie. with someone with the right amount of imagination and knowledge of Star Wars, they could easily remedy the things that the oversights and the things they may have just either neglected or got completely wrong with The Force Awakens. It wasn't irredeemable. They could have fixed things with a sequel quite easily. But unfortunately, we didn't get someone with that capability that made the next movie. So we were left with, this soulless kind of retread of Episode 4.
Yeah.
It was all image and no soul. And I saw the potential that it could have produced. But obviously, because they didn't have a plan at all, there's no way they could have continued it. There's no way they could have actually had a decent roadmap to make it a cohesive trilogy. So the ideas that I had in my head, I just thought I was genuinely impressed myself. I thought I didn't think I could be this imaginative and this creative. So if only I could have been actually been able to get my hands on or invited into Lucasfilm and actually say, look, this is what you need to do. You need to do this with these characters. They need to go there. This needs to happen. They need to fix this. You need to go back and explain this, and it would have been fine. But because someone like me can't do that, I thought, well, I'm going to just make my own thing, and if people like it, great. That's brilliant. But it just goes to show that just someone in the audience, just a random Joe, can make a better Star Wars story than these idiots in Disney and in Hollywood.
Mm-hmm.
So
Agreed.
one of my goals was with this story not only to sidestep what happens in The Last Jedi, but fix everything that either wasn't explained or was badly realized in The Force Awakens. And I think people reading this story will be very pleasantly surprised and want to go back and watch The Force Awakens again because of what I do in this story, if you know what I mean. So it should throw that first movie into a completely new light. I'm hoping, at least.
Okay.
All right. Well, I think definitely when starting chapter 1, I didn't have questions. Now I have it loaded up, and I'm going to leave it up to you how much of chapter 1 you'd like us to play. First of all,
chapter 1's quite long, so I'd say I'd give it about 5 minutes. Cap it at 5 minutes.
Well, also, I was just wondering if there's some things that you'd like to hold back so people come to your channel and there's a bit of a surprise in chapter 1 that's like early on already. There's something pretty important happen. So I don't know. I'll let you just say, okay, let's stop here.
Yeah, I'd say stop. I know the pivotal point you're thinking of. If you stop before that, anytime, it's up to you guys really. If you stop any time before that, then that's good with me.
Okay. All right. That sounds about right. And then we'll show the channel so people can go there. I do have the link in the description, but you've got the author here right now, so don't go away. Here we are. So I think my level hopefully is better now. I turned it up again. I saw another message from Jay there.
A little too hot now.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Let's do our sound check on stream.
Yes.
How about that now?
Keeping it real, guys. Keeping it real.
Okay, yeah, we're keeping it real bad. All right, here we are.
Chapter 1. On the planet's surface, Resistance ground crew officer Sonori Voltas relayed the latest status of the emergency evacuation to Lieutenant Kadel Konix.
We're not clear yet. There's still 30 pellets of cannon shells from Sea Bunker.
Forget the munitions. There's no time. Just get everyone on the transports.
Oh no.
They found us.
We caught them in the middle of their evacuation.
I have my orders from Supreme Leader Snoke himself. This is where we snuff out the Resistance once and for all. Tell Captain Kennedy to prime his dreadnought, incinerate their base, destroy their transports, and obliterate their fleet.
Now, I'm going to pause just a second here. We're going to keep going a bit more, but I just wanted to ask you, all right, now that people have heard some of your sound design, is there any secrets you wish to... Well, you could keep some secrets back, but is there anything you'd like to say about how you were able to make this happen, because right now this does sound like, I'm in a film.
Sounds fantastic. Yeah.
That's I'm so glad that you don't know how much that means to me.
No, no, it's very good. I
It's
mean,
very
there would
good.
just be small things here and there, just ticky-tacky things. And when
Yeah.
you have a whole crew of people, I mean, it gets found in endeavors, but when it's one person, you're gonna miss a couple things here and there, but overall, it's just really, very good, and it sounds very professional.
Yeah, I've been trying to. It's all about the immersion because you haven't got anything to look at, so you have to kind of almost double down on the audio and make sure every little thing is in there, like someone's foot turning on the floor, or
Mhm.
like the sound of their tunic brushing as they move, or their breath. These very very small little things that you're not consciously picking up on, but they're there, and it helps so much with the immersion. So I've tried to get as much of that in there as possible. That's what's taken a lot of the time is sourcing those sound files and getting the levels right so nothing gets drowned out and I think that the right sounds are prioritized. And man, I had no idea it was this much work before I started. I just thought
Yeah.
I'll just throw them all into audition and it'll be fine. But good
Wow.
Lord, no. Is it that not the case? But if you're saying that it does sound visual, that is, then I've done my job. That's it.
Yes.
I've
Yeah.
achieved exactly what I
Yeah.
wanted to do, and the goal was to rival what Lucas Film or Lucas Arts or whoever's doing the audio for the original EU books in the 2000s was. If I can match that kind of level of immersion, I remember how immersive they were when I was listening to them. They were great.
Mm.
Dark Empire and Dark Empire 2, fantastic. So if I can get to that kind of level, then yeah, that's what I wanted to achieve. And that I think if the quality's there, people might get curious. They might sort of listen to one episode and think, "Oh, wow, yeah, this is quite good." If it was me coming to this channel for the first time and hearing these things, I would have been in. I would have been there. I would have been, "Oh, wow, this is my kind of thing. This is what I want to listen to." It doesn't matter if the video's there or not. If the sound effects are there and the voice acting's there, the characters are there, the sound effects are there, then I'm kind of more inclined to listen to it than descriptive narration. So
Mm.
that's the angle I've gone to so far. That doesn't mean to say that I won't include more narration as it goes on, but at the moment, I think I'm getting by on what I've done to kind of try and evoke what's happening in the scene.
Well, yeah, the sounds are basically giving you the setting,
Hmm.
I believe, and, yeah, so that takes away a lot of the description, and from what I heard in this chapter 1, I haven't really heard narration, so
Sure.
it's like, it gives you all the information you need. So you literally just went out searching for, like, and these are the right spaceship sounds, these are the right, ship sounds from Star Wars, it doesn't
Sure.
sound like ships from elsewhere. So you went out and you just looked for these sounds from, like, did you go to some of the games, or did you go to, just the movies, or how did you source the sounds of the ships?
Luckily, I found downloadable audio files that have been sampled from various media.
Uh-huh.
And I've used certain ones and modified them in certain ways. So stretched them out or compressed them to make them sound longer or shorter. Added sound effects to make it sound like an X-wing is banking and turning, things like that. So there might be sort of basic original sourced audio files, but I've made them my own, if you like. I've added modifications to them, added
Mhm.
echoes for certain environments. So there's a bit where Princess Leia's in a like a cavernous hangar,
Mhm.
and you have to go from, say, an environment where you're like in a war room or an office, where it's
Right.
kind of a small environment, and then you have to change the environment and make it kind of echoey and cavernous. And just that alone can evoke exactly what's going on in the scene. You don't necessarily need the description. So I've relied on that an awful lot, which is, this is why I've had to put so much work in, is because you're kind of doing the job of the narrator in what you're doing
Yeah.
with all the sound effects and everything. Yeah. So um, if you saw the audio file on the screen, it'd take away the magic, I think, because you see all the strips of this sound effect and that sound effect and this vocal, and you see it playing past, and you just think, oh yeah, I can just see how you've laid it all together. But when you actually listen to it and your brain is filling in the gaps, in the visual gaps, it creates a sort of magic there, because it's something that the films can't do. It's like reading a book. Everyone's experience of reading a novel is different because their own imagination takes over of what they're seeing and what
Mhm.
they're experiencing. And because there's no visual element to this, I quite like that, because everyone gets to listen to it and imagine what they want and what everything looks like, basically, unless I'm actually describing it myself.
Yeah. One thing people will need to know, though, is that if they've seen at least The Force Awakens, then they should recognize the voices.
Oh yeah,
'Cause
absolutely.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So if you don't have that background, then you can figure it out. I mean, because it's been a number of years for me, so I had to figure out some things. But
Yeah,
you
that's
can
right.
figure it out definitely. But
I should probably put a prefix on the channel, sort of saying it was beneficial to watch The Force Awakens before you listen to this, because we are going from this is episode 8, not episode 7. So episode 8 or episode 7 already exists, and we're jumping in at episode 8.
Mhm.
So most people could probably understand. You need to fill yourself in for that missing chapter first. But
oh yeah, definitely.
like as Liza said earlier on, redo the Force Awakens, and the thought did occur to me, to be honest with you. But there's so much work, but it would be quite easy just to kind of do a retread and fix the things that were wrong with it, and then kind of segue that into this story quite neatly. But maybe I'll go back once all this is done and I'm left twiddling my thumbs with nothing to do in life. I'll go back and attempt that one as well.
That would be fantastic. I mean, just this small clip has me excited. So, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So let me continue here.
Captain Kennedy, sir. Their evacuation is...
Yeah, I had to ask that. I don't remember in The Force Awakens there being a Captain Kennedy. Was there?
Captain Kennedy, actually, his name is. Yeah, I know it's easy to mishear his name, but it's Kennedy, it's called, yeah.
I was thinking he put that in there, didn't he?
Yeah, he wasn't actually in Force Awakens. He first suddenly came into it at the start of The Last Jedi. So that's the first time we ever saw him. And he was the best character in the whole movie as far as I was concerned. And he dies in the first couple of minutes. And I just thought, the guy was amazing. One of my favorite actors as well. And he's just brilliantly portrays this character, one of the most convincing characters in the film, and they just kill him off. And I'm just, oh no, I can't believe they did that.
Well, then his last name should have been Kennedy then.
yeah, in that respect, absolutely.
and no, that's not hate for JFK or anything.
No, the other Kennedy. We're not talking about him.
Yeah. So let's go on.
In progress.
Scan for their capital ships. We'll intercept them before they reach orbit.
General Hux, resistance ship approaching. Guns and shields in attack mode.
A single light fighter?
Happy beeps, buddy. We pull crazier stunts than this.
Keep it together, pilot. We only need to stall them long enough.
Now that sounds, just like Leia at the time of life she was, or Carrie Fisher the time of life she was in.
Yeah. It was. I was tempted to kind of regress her age a little bit and kind of take her back to more sort of Return of the Jedi voice, but I thought, I don't know, that'd probably be doing her a disservice.
No, it works.
It wouldn't be as congruent with the previous movie either. So yeah, and this is all. If no one realizes this already, by the way, I have used AI for these for the voices, but that's just the vocal filter. The actual voice acting is all me. So I've had to kind of try and imagine myself as the character and act these voices out like an ordinary voice actor. So
incredible. Did the AI also take care of the accent, or you did our accent, the American accent yourself?
Yeah, I had to do the accent.
Wow.
I thought the accent. I thought the AI would have done the accents because a friend of mine did Johnny Depp a year before in 11 Labs, which is what I'm using, and he can't do accents. So, and he's British, and it sounded exactly like Johnny Depp, and I thought, wow, this stuff's incredible. He's doing the accents as well. And I tried just using my voice with the vocal filter with my accent, and it just didn't sound right. And I thought, no, forget it. I'll try my best to do the accents. We'll see how this goes. So I've got better as it goes on. So I can now do more of a better American accent, but I'm still not quite there. But I do go back and correct myself and edit. So it does sound better than my early takes. Put it that way.
It sounds amazing. I mean, I was just curious. It's like, okay, so the AI is like a filter on the voice. It's like, did it take care of the accent? Mm-hmm. But it didn't. You did it yourself. You are very talented.
Thank you. This is an outlet for my inner suppressed thespian, I think.
Awesome.
No, that was. I just paused there because I was, it was remarkable when I heard it before, and I just wanted to point it out. That's like that just sounds right.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
Thank you for your support, General. Attention. This is Commander Poe Dameron of the Republic Fleet. I have an urgent communique for General Hux.
Patch him through. This is General Hux of the First Order. The Republic is no more. Your fleet are rebel scum and war criminals. Tell your precious princess there will be no terms, no surrender.
General Organa is willing to discuss our terms of surrender.
What is this?
The Resistance fleet will hand itself over to the First.
Just so folks know, this is intentional. This is the communications breaking up.
Effective immediately.
Repeat, pilot. We don't read.
General Organa is to discuss our surrender. If you
cut him off. You're wasting your breath and our time, Level. Prepare for annihilation.
Whoa! I think I fixed it. Are you receiving?
You have 30 seconds, vermin. Make them count.
General Organa is willing to discuss our terms of surrender. If you agree, the Resistance fleet will hand itself over to First Order custody for questioning.
I clearly stated there would be no surrender, pilot. You will all be eradicated. Your kind should be denied a right to life. Relay that back to your leader before your transports are torn apart and your base turned into a crater 5 clicks wide.
Oh, the final crew members are aboard the transports. Patch me through to Hux directly. There's only one way he'll listen now.
Wait, General! I thought you said it wouldn't come to this.
Oh, that's an order.
May the Force be with us on this one. You're online, General. Go ahead.
General Hux, this is General Leia Organa Solo of the Republic Resistance Fleet. Stand down your weapons and hold your position. I have terms for our surrender, and I believe you'll want to hear what I have to say.
Ah, Princess. About time you spoke for your pathetic organization instead of cowering behind messengers. I shall take great personal pleasure in knowing you perished at my hand today. You have eluded us for far too long. Believe me, nothing you declare can change your fate.
I submit myself to the First Order. I believe Snoke would regard me as quite the valuable acquisition in this conflict, would he not? Now, allow the fleet to go free, and Snoke will have the daughter of Vader himself to do with as he pleases. And I offer something far more valuable than the mere eradication of the Resistance. The map to my brother, Luke.
I think I'll stop it there.
Fair enough.
Very nice.
So, I mean, it's good writing because you could see, like, well, you don't know her true intentions just yet, but you at least see the reasoning behind it because originally we're not going to take any surrender, but now there's a reason to. It's providing, or at least saying they're going to provide what they really want, which is where is Luke?
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, I don't know what to say other than I am going to call up your page because I want to make sure people. I mean, it's in the description, but I might as well call it up too. Alrighty, and it is Star Wars Retold. That's the name of the YouTube channel.
That's the one.
Is that also the name of? Is it just the YouTube channel, or is that the name you're using for, like, where people can find the book or anything else?
I haven't actually got the written or typed rather book available for anyone just to get. I've only sent it out to a few people so far, so I've not really done much of a promotion on this at all.
Oh, okay.
So, everyone that's heard it already or everyone that's read it already, they're kind of very early previewers. So you guys have obviously, I sent you the link a little while back, and you guys have, some of the first people to be able to hear it. But if people like the story as far as they're hearing it, then they're very welcome to get in contact with me, and I'll supply them with the PDF of the visual book so they can actually read it ahead if they want to. But yeah, any online correspondence or anything related to this, other than this channel where you can call me Swap Shop, I'll be going by Star Wars Retold elsewhere. So that's kind of the corporate ID of the channel, if you want to call it that, I guess.
Non-corporate, corporate ID.
Yeah. Yeah.
Awesome.
So yeah, I'm sharing it right now, but yeah, quite conveniently, the username for the channel is Star Wars Retold.
Subbed.
Easy to find. Yeah,
Bless
as you see,
you,
I'm
bless you.
subscribed to 346, and we've only listened to about a third of chapter 1, and then folks could listen to the rest of that, and chapters 2 and 3 are there. After you hear the rest of chapter 1, you're going to be hooked in, and you'll be listening to chapters 2 and 3 pretty much straight afterwards.
I should have chapter 4 in the next day or so, I think, something like that. I was in the middle of editing before I came on, so yeah.
Oh wow. Yeah, and I have in the description also the link to follow to get to Swapper's Twitter account. If you want to go to Twitter or X, I think a lot of the people here probably already are following you, but just
Probably do.
people
Yeah.
know. But no, there's probably some that aren't, but because we do have a few people that found us on their own.
Oh, sure. Okay.
Okay, cool. Scott's there. So anyway, Liza, do you have any questions at this point that you would like to ask?
No questions. I'm just excited to hear more of the story. I'm in it.
I can send over the written novel if you do so wish and you have time to go through it. Of course, I will do that for you guys. And if you want to read ahead, then you always can. But yeah, obviously, I'll drop you the link as soon as I've got number 4 up so you can hear it. But have both of you heard all the episodes so far?
No.
I've listened to all of 1 and beginning of chapter 2, and I'll probably be finishing them tonight. It's just
Sure.
this week, preparing for the show. We were originally going to do Alex Petty and stuff. All the moving parts and me rearranging my studio. I've been kind of like I want to listen to it when I can just enjoy. And tonight will be my first break after this episode. That's my first break of the week to just enjoy.
Yeah, I'm coming at this cold turkey swap shop, and I'm enjoying it so much.
Well, it's
that's
hearing
good to
those
hear.
sounds,
Yeah.
it's hearing like the sounds of an X-wing. It
Sure.
sounds different. It sounds different than any other science fiction vehicle. It
You're right,
has
it
its
does.
own
Yeah.
sound.
That's the thing with Star Wars. All the sounds in it, Ben Burtt's original designs was so
Yeah.
distinctive and so original that to make it sound like it's in the universe, you have to use the sounds that he designed. Whether it's a laser blast, whether it's an engine sound, whether it's a creature, you name it. And I've got the John Williams score going through it as well. So I looked on my channel, seeing any progress, views, and things like that. And it did say I did receive a copyright strike, I guess you call it, on the videos, but that's
Well,
because of the John Williams score.
Yeah,
But
those
there's
are
no action.
claims.
Yeah, that's it, a claim. No action's been taken. I don't think they sort of put any
Right.
restrictions on you or anything, but it's just like an acknowledgement that you're using the audio. I don't know what happens when you get to a monetization state and they start kind of penalizing
Well,
you.
and anything that has that, your monetization goes straight to the holder of the copyright.
Right.
Right.
And so in that case, it goes straight to Disney.
It
Your monetization goes to Disney, and my monetization for this episode probably goes to Disney. But
Sure.
the thing is, I'm not monetized yet. But when I am, I'm comfortable with the fact that I'm not going to get ad revenue from a lot of the earworm streams. But at least I'm building, an audience, and that's what's more important for me for
Absolutely.
these episodes.
Yeah.
And then in my tutorials and in my music, that's where I might be able to earn a little bit of ad revenue. But YouTube has got to be more of a promotional thing. It's at least that's the approach we're taking. This is our way of getting outreach and building an audience,
Well,
more so than
YouTube
monetizing.
Yeah, YouTube monetization isn't the end all, and I mean, you could do merch or affiliate marketing. There's
Well, that'd be tough if you have the Star Wars logo. You got to do other things, but you can definitely.
Well, maybe I mean, I don't know. Do they sell I mean, they must sell Star Wars product on Amazon, and
Well, you just have to make sure that whatever you create as a fan item does not use any of their things
Trademarks.
their trademarks. and
Yeah, I guess
it
that's
would
not
have to be a new type of alien or something,
right.
or I mean, some people have done paintings and stuff of Star Wars characters, and it's been all right,
Yeah.
you know, and
I've
Huh.
been
things like
I've
that.
been looking at people like Star Wars Theory as like a template, and because he's made like several million subscribers, from basically doing his own material. But he's done it in certain way that doesn't infringe copyright. So I'm going to have to look at ways around the using the theme tunes and things like that. After I get if I get to like the near the monetization point, if it ever happens, then I might need to kind of re-edit the videos, if you like, and re-upload them without those elements to them. Maybe do a link to elsewhere where people can get the full videos with the full amount of audio in them, so they're not on YouTube, but people can still access them, if you like. And I guess there's always the what's it called, the Patreon and things like that you could do.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, there you
Yeah,
go.
and Patreon and also, like conversations, 'cause, that's something that, maybe, I mean, people kinda maybe move on from it, but some people come back to it and so forth, like, I don't think I'm ever gonna be at a point where I don't, feel like talking about Star Wars, you know
Sure.
what I mean? And there's people that are always gonna be open to listening to Star Wars and everything like that, and so,
I think
you know
people are one of the main things is, and I know this is a fact because I'm one of those people, and I know people like it. People are always crying out for something that's based on that's Star Wars based, that's new and good and interesting. Doesn't have DEI infused in it.
Mhm.
It isn't to do with what Disney are currently doing. It's more to do with the potential and what Disney were doing before The Last Jedi happened. Because we had, of course, Force Awakens, which was enjoyed by a lot of people and not enjoyed by a lot of people as also. But also we had Rogue One, and there were a few other good, Rebels, things like that were going on at the time that were genuinely really good that
Yeah.
Disney were putting
Yeah.
out. And
Yeah.
then, and
We
then
liked
sort of,
we liked Rebels and we liked Clone Wars,
yeah,
and
yeah.
then when Mandalorian came out, even though we were upset with, what happened at the films, the
Mhm.
the the sequel trilogy, we gave Mandalorian a chance and we enjoyed it for a while until,
Yeah, they dropped the hammer on it.
season 3.
Yeah.
You know?
Goodness.
Tragic.
Yeah.
It was
Yeah, and that's
So I
what,
know. Yeah, I do acknowledge that there's this thirst for good Star Wars out there, and although I'm using Disney characters to an extent, um, and a lot of my own characters that I've created for this as well, then I think that there was so much potential in those characters with The Force Awakens that just putting them into a decent story would give someone something new to envelop themselves in and dive into and immerse themselves in Star Wars again, even though it's not the EU essentially, but it's not technically Disney either. So I'm just hoping that there's, like I said back in 2018 when I started writing it, I want to give the fans what Disney didn't give us.
Mhm.
I mean, I want people to feel satisfied and have that roller coaster adventure in that universe that we didn't get in the movies. So,
Right.
and I know there's an audience there for it. So if I keep making it, maybe more people will come. Build it, and they will come, as they say.
Well, I'm gonna put this out there. If there's someone in the chat that would like us to ask a question, please, put it forward. And but I guess one of the things I realized is that it's been a shift in so many ways because through Clone Wars and Rebels, I really liked the Ahsoka Tano character.
Yeah, she was great in those. You're right. Yeah.
And then it was all right when she made an appearance in Mandalorian, but then her own series, at that point I wasn't gonna give it a shot anymore. I just watched vicariously through you guys,
Yeah.
on the Brown Alliance.
Yeah.
Also, link in the description. Check out Mr. Brown's channel if you're somehow here and you haven't heard of it yet. But it's like that just kind of ruined that too. It's like, what the heck? All the characters are getting
Yeah, they sort of
ruined now.
they built these things up, didn't they? That had so much potential, like I keep saying, and then just unceremoniously axe them with a guillotine and just turn them into just garbage, straight garbage.
Yeah, Ezra
Yeah.
Bridger.
Yeah, and all these great characters that were set up in Rebels and Clone Wars, and they suddenly just ruined them in the live action. And people had such high hopes for Dave Filoni as well.
Yeah.
And yeah, they did ruin Ahsoka. You're right, Barbara. She was one of the best things about Clone Wars, and Clone Wars went on for a long time, and she really went on a great hero's journey as a character from the start when she was this
Mhm.
annoying little brat, and everyone hated her, and then matured and became this really sympathetic character everyone was behind. So you can imagine everyone was really looking forward to seeing her in live action, and they just really dropped the ball with it, I think.
Yeah, and I think that that story did the Clone Wars handled of some of the problems with the Jedi in a good way.
Hmm.
Without making them into bad guys or
Yeah.
crapping on them. It's like, all right, there's some problems that your order's going to have if you're too stuck into um, uh, too stuck into the government, too stuck into the republic, and too rigid about these things, and not being able to, I don't know, I guess, see some of your own faults.
Yeah.
And so that's where I think her character got a lot of love because she kind of found out some of the problems they had, like when they didn't, um, well, they didn't believe her, and then when the evidence was in, it's like, oh, okay, all right, you're fine now. It's like, no, it's too late. You guys, didn't have faith in me and so forth, and
Yeah,
I
that's
don't know.
when she left the order. Yeah, I think the good thing about Ahsoka is that Disney didn't realize is that she was the audience's perspective on the Star Wars universe because we were with her right from the start. We were, the graduation of the Jedi. We were in there at sort of ground level and working our way up with her through the ranks and getting to know the Jedi Order and the Star Wars universe all over again through her eyes. And when that was lost, I think a lot of the appreciation and excitement for what was established in Clone Wars and Rebels was lost with it. When they brought about the live action show, even in Mandalorian to an extent, she wasn't used as she should have been. The things weren't explored as they should have been. Her relationship with Luke and how
Mhm.
she would have spoken to him about his father and all this kind of stuff. None of that was addressed, and I just thought, this is nuts. What's going on? They're missing this
Yeah,
massive community here. So it's almost like Disney don't know what they're dealing with. They're kind of
yeah,
juggling balls that they don't know what the balls are, and they're doing it in the dark, and they're pretending to be a juggler. That's what it is. They've got all the stuff ready, but they don't know. They can't put it together. And the Ahsoka show was just a nail in the coffin. I mean, I kind of expected it to be garbage, to be honest with you, but I didn't expect it to be quite as bad as we got.
uh,
So yeah, big disappointment.
yeah. Babs is in the chat, and she says how she didn't like Ahsoka
Yeah,
originally in Clone Wars, but of course the character grows on you in time. And, yeah, that's how it was for me, but, yeah, and then it gets ruined when she has her own show, which wasn't really her show, I don't know.
yeah. I don't know
I
what.
I I can't really say because I didn't really watch it, but I got a very thorough going over of the story through you guys,
Mhm.
so I don't know if that counts, but I think it's pretty close to it.
That
And
was probably a more enjoyable way of doing it. Yeah.
Sabine Wren was also a character that I over time got to appreciate.
Mhm.
And then that show kind of screwed that character too. It's
Yeah,
like,
no, that's right. Absolutely. They're both great characters in Rebels. I think there wasn't a single character in it I didn't like in Rebels.
mhm,
I mean, it was a little bit watered down from Clone Wars. Clone Wars had a bit of an edge on it, but I was glad to see a story set in the Star Wars universe that we knew. The post prequel era. So we got all the familiar
mm,
things like Tie Fighters and things like that, which was awesome. And seeing Ahsoka in that was great as well. But it really did kind of bolster my confidence in what Disney were doing. That and even the Force Awakens. I mean, I know you guys were cold on it, but I did see the potential there, and those three, that kind of trinity of projects, not Clone Wars, sorry, Rebels, The Force Awakens, and Rogue One, made me think that The Last Jedi was genuinely going to be a good film. I
mm,
kind of convinced myself that I was going to, this is going to be great. Everything they've done so far, it's all leading up to this. They've got this interesting film with The Force Awakens that they could really create something great from. I was thinking of all these things in my head. And then sat down to watch it, and that's when we knew things were falling apart at that point, when we genuinely knew that things were going south, and we thought, oh no, this is not good. What are Disney doing? And then the worst thing about it is Disney were not they didn't have the humility to accept their own mistakes and to accept criticism. They just kind of doubled down on it, and the fans were the enemy. The audience was the enemy. And that was the thing that turned most people off. That was not just The Last Jedi, but that was Disney's reaction to what happened was what pushed a lot of people away. So you guys were very fortunate and had great foresight in jumping off at the point after the Force Awakens
Well, we
because
didn't totally jump off. We still watched things that we enjoyed from the past, and
sure, yeah,
that
yeah,
that
yeah.
included Clone Wars and Rebels. I think we've seen, Rebels like a total of 2 times, and Clone Wars a couple of times as well.
Hmm.
And but I don't really want to go back to the Force Awakens because it's just going to lead down that path.
Yeah, exactly.
After we saw it, we were disappointed, but it wasn't at the point of saying, "Okay, you're insulting us now." It was at the point of like, I don't know, I'm not sure I see where this story is going. There was just something weird about it.
Yeah.
It's like because all right, this first order's here, and we didn't do any of the expanded universe stuff, so we didn't know if it was in there or something. We were just wondering, what is this first order thing? It looks kind of like the Empire, and they're still kind of in charge, it seems, even though the Republic's there. But you don't even see the Republic. You don't. You don't know anything about it. They just got blown up. That's it.
There was no exposition given whatsoever. I mean, I know that stories can get bogged down in exposition, and it's one thing I've struggled and battled with for the entire duration of writing this story. But you have to give people something. You have to give people information on what's going on. Otherwise, people are just going to be, well, you didn't tell us anything. You should just expect us to accept what we're reading or what we're hearing or seeing, and you're not giving us any background information, so we can't have an opinion on what the other stuff you're telling us or what's going to happen in the future. You know.
Yeah, and you need to have a setting. You need to know, all right, what is the role of the First Order? What's the role of the New Republic? What is
Hmm.
the balance of power? And maybe a little background of how they came about. I think it would have been best if they would have launched into the story at that point, establishing this setting between them, and then establishing the school at that point, and the struggle between good and evil. Because then you could see like Ben Skywalker's fall from
Yeah.
the good side. You could see it happen, and it could be stronger there, and you could see Ray elevate, with actually a learning process. You could actually have character growth through that.
Yeah.
Whereas, it didn't really happen. They were just kind of put there, and it's like, who are these guys? It's like,
Yeah,
I
we're just
like,
expected to accept them, aren't we? Without any
yeah, it's
kind of
like
without
this
any backstory.
millennial, or
Yeah.
they called it millennial Vader. It's like, all
Oh,
right.
God, yeah.
And the way he acted, it was just kind of like, this is it takes you out of the story because it's more like a behavior that we would consider to be part of our cultural behavior or a subculture behavior. The way he was acting,
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, and we weren't given any reason for his motivation either.
yeah.
But for a lot of the characters, come to think of it, we think, oh, why are they there? Why are they doing this?
Hmm.
What's their ultimate goal? What are they hoping for? We weren't given anything. We just we had to just make it up in our heads. And
Yeah.
even when the Last Jedi came around, we weren't given any more backstory either. We weren't given any more information on what happened to the Republic, where the First Order came from. None of this stuff. We're thinking, this is your movie to do this. This is where you should be telling us this stuff. We got
Well, wasn't there
nothing.
flashbacks? But I guess that was just with the school and.
Yeah, but even those didn't really give us,
Oh
and
no.
they were wishy washy because you don't know who was telling the truth. We
Well,
never
yeah.
we never got kind of the definitive story from the characters. But one thing is what pissed me off about Last Jedi, among the multitude of other things, was the fact that Star Wars doesn't do flashbacks. Right, we never have flashbacks. Maybe in a TV show, that's different, but not in the movies, not in the legacy movies. We do not have flashbacks. It's one of the things that Lucas never did. So in this story, I've tried to maintain that tradition. And that's very, very difficult thing to do when you've got to tell a backstory,
Yeah.
And so I've managed to, and I personally think cleverly. I'm not one to talk up my own game, but I had to seriously sit down and think about how I'm going to do it, and I've done it in a very roundabout way, adopting things from Rebels, Star Wars Rebels, and I won't say what because I don't want to ruin the story. To be able to view things into the past in a certain way, so characters have got an ability to view things in the past at one point in the story, so you can see certain things that happened years and years and years before without actually having a flashback technically. So yeah, I've utilized certain things that have been given to us in previous Star Wars projects
Yes,
and adapted
exactly.
them in
Yeah,
this.
the Jedi Temple thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was I thought that was pretty cool how they worked that into the story. Of course, at that point, you're just so disheartened because Kanan Jarrus died.
Oh, I know. That's right.
That was tough. After we saw that episode, we had to keep watching the next ones no matter how late at night it was.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah.
Wow. So anyway, Liza seems to be busy with our cat. So I'm gonna look at
Sorry,
the
sorry, guys. I'm listening to everything, keeping up with the chat, and just experimenting with the ink
Okay, I just wanted to
extension.
make sure you're able to keep up with the chat. I see
Yeah.
Moggs there and Mr. Brown's still there. Thanks
Yeah,
for
yeah.
hanging out with us.
Everyone's still here, hanging out.
When is
Lots of
Mr.
fun.
Brown gonna have another like 12-hour?
Oh yeah, I think that's
Yeah,
for.
we have.
Is that for Revenge of the Sith, Brown? What's that? What movie
Yeah,
are we doing?
yeah. I think Revenge of the Sith is the next one to do because Clone Wars was like a year ago. No, not Clone Wars. Attack of the Clones was
Attack
a
of the
year ago.
Clones.
Yeah, Attack of the Clones was a year ago,
That was an
and
experience. That stream
yeah,
was an experience.
yeah, that was awesome. Well, he turned a 12-hour stream into 24 hours total.
Yeah, because we had to kind of split it, didn't we? But oh my god, yeah,
No, I
it
don't
was.
think any of that was had to. That was Brown's master
Well,
vision.
yeah, yeah.
But anyway, so with the writing, what is your vision? This is going to be a trilogy, so I guess that would be your vision. But this is Paraxeum of the Pathfinders,
Yeah,
um,
that's right. Yeah.
and do you want to say how like that might fit into the overall trilogy without giving anything away?
Well, if as far as the idea of the trilogy goes, a sequel trilogy, because the channel is called a sequel trilogy legacy, so it follows on from the Force Awakens.
Oh,
So
so it might be two.
yeah, so I've written one big story, but I've
Mhm.
split it down the middle.
Oh,
So,
right, right.
so if the first part is episode 8, the second part is episode 9, and because the story just kept going, and I thought, well, I can't stop it here. I can't just drop it, at the end of episode 8, because I need to finish the story. I need to round this out. So I just kept writing, and I thought, wow, okay, this is massive. I did a word count, and it equaled like Lord of the Rings and War and Peace, I think it was. So that wasn't actually a joke when Brown was saying, watch out, War and Peace, because it generally did like beat it in the word count. Obviously, it's going to be edited down, so it's not going to be that big. But so I thought, right, cut it into like Tolkien did with 3. His book, he cut it into 3. So I'll just
Mhm.
cut this into 2, and it'll be just more palatable, more manageable for people to listen to. So once episode 8 ends, you can kind of get a chance to sort of go away and have a break and gather your thoughts and stuff, and then come back and continue with episode 9. So all of episode 8 will be up there eventually, and then I'll have like a few months, and then I'll start uploading episode 9 and carry on from that point.
Wow, it's amazing. I mean, because you put a lot of detail into the sound design and just being able to release things with the I don't know what would you call that. I mean, just being able to keep it up. I mean, I'd be kind of burnt out because that one person that's a pretty hard one person job,
Yeah, I
sourcing
mean,
all the sounds, mixing
it,
them all together, and it's scene by scene,
sure.
and you had to derive that from the book. So you were basically saying, okay, here's the dialogue from the book. Now I need to express those things that are said in my words as a writer,
Yeah,
just through the sound, and then the dialogue fits in that.
sure,
And then you're probably going back and saying, okay, I can't miss anything here, or else the people won't understand what this scene's about.
exactly.
Did, is what I'm hearing in my head exactly what someone just seeing this for the first time is going to hear? Or hearing and seeing, whatever.
That's what you have.
Hearing through the ears and seeing in your head.
Yeah, you have to put yourself in that newbie position where people are coming in completely dry to it. They have no prior knowledge, and you have to lead them through very carefully and explain and describe things as much as possible. Some of the dialogue I've had to embellish and alter a little bit to put more description in that certain characters are making. They're vocalizing their thoughts at some points, things like that, just to keep the reader, viewer, listener up to date on what's happening, so they're not sitting there just oblivious and hearing some random sounds. You actually do understand the reason why you're hearing what you're hearing.
So what of the 3 characters, let's say the 3 new generation characters,
Mhm.
Ray, Poe, and Finn, which of those characters, their traits did you maintain, and which did you kind of like change a little bit maybe? I don't know if you felt they needed changing or
That's a good question. I like it. Poe is pretty much the same. I've exaggerated more his kind of happy-go-lucky side and sense of humor, because we're in a very kind of dark period in the universe and in the timeline. There's a lot of serious crap going on. People are dying left, right, and center. There's terrible things happening, and he's kind of smiling through it. It's kind of his way of dealing with this massive event and tragedy and everything that's going on around him. He's lost valuable people in his life, beloved ones. He's lost Leia. He's lost a lot of people, and he just wants to keep people alive that he currently has. He can physically protect. So his role is. I'm kind of developing him more from The Force Awakens and ignoring how he was in The Last Jedi. They kind of turned him into kind of this kind of pseudo leader character in The Last Jedi. It didn't work whatsoever. So he needs to be a fighter pilot, and he needs to have this whimsical, humorous side to him that I kind of try and push a lot in his dialogue. So that's the way I've developed him. And he kind of diffuses tense situations and things like that when he's there and when he's visible. As far as Finn goes, I've completely taken the clown element to his character that they forced on him in the films out. I've removed that entirely.
Yeah.
And he's got a very interesting, I think people are going to be interested to find out what he's like, dynamic in his character that I've explored from his past, from when he was with the First Order, why he was with the First Order, why he defected. He gets a lot of complicated layers to him. He is snagged in a very moral dilemma throughout a lot of the story. There's a lot of paranoia and doubt that surrounds him. It gets a lot more complicated as a character, and he never once in the story, and I made damn sure of this, shouts Ray at any point.
Yeah. And was he a janitor in your version?
Absolutely not. No, I did actually explain. There's a bit in it where he was in sanitation. We know that was established in the film, but he was actually like a manager of a sanitation, I guess, force or wing or establishment in the First Order, where he was maintaining droids. He was programming machines to do maintenance because droids do all the maintenance. Humans don't do it.
Right.
So I thought I've got to adapt him accordingly. So he's got to be this kind of tech savvy person that knows droids and he knows how to program certain things and knows how to handle certain things. So he's got to have a certain amount of knowledge and experience to his character. So I've elevated him a bit more, and he's not just a clown character running around shouting things and being comic relief. So I developed him in that way. Yes, he is emotionally tied to Rey because they go through a lot together. So they develop feelings for each other. That's it. You can't avoid that. But I thought that he was a good character to have her develop feelings for, because they're kind of almost diametrically opposed. He's First Order, she's not. They're both kind of separate in a way to the Resistance, so they're not on the side of the good guys. They're kind of their own thing almost. They've defected, but they're not. Finn didn't really defect as such to the Resistance. He kind of just left the First Order. So he and Rey have got this idea at one point that they want to kind of run away and just be away from all this horrible war stuff and set up a life together away from all this kind of. That's one of their little fantasies they have at one point in the story. So there's it's not just black and white. There are these kind of in between areas where the characters are not necessarily siding. They kind of want to do their own thing. But at certain points, they're forced into this allegiance, or they're forced into thinking a certain way, or forced into acting a certain way with certain people. And of course, they're great friends with Poe. So he's on one side; they're kind of in this grey area, and they've got the First Order trying to almost get Finn back at one point. They're chasing him because he's a defector. They want to find out why he defected, because no one else defects. No one defects from their ranks. This is just a mystery. They don't understand why it happens. So he's an interest. He's a person of interest to them. So that he's very highly wanted by a lot of people in the galaxy. And Rey's character, I've developed in a way where she's absolutely not a Mary Sue in any respect. Even though she has all these abilities, it is explained in the story. I've taken painstaking care to describe why she's the way she is, why she has these abilities, that she has no idea why she can do these things. and they scare her. She doesn't know what she's capable of, and she doesn't know if she's going to kill somebody or she's going to, accidentally push someone off a cliff or do something like that. She doesn't know what the next thing she's going to do. So she's very kind of scared of the Force, and she doesn't know how to handle it. And she needs this is why she needs a teacher.
Yeah, well, definitely. I mean, in the Force Awakens, I mean, they already went a little too far there in being. I mean, the way Finn handled a lightsaber, that would be like somebody who never felt it before.
Yeah.
Then the way she did it was like, oh, come on. That's a
Exactly.
little too much. A little too much.
And there's a lot of people probably be like we all were really before we approached all the Star Wars projects after the Force Awakens. Is like, who is Rey? That was the big question. Where did she come from? Who were her parents? All this kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
It was one of the big questions that everyone had leading into the Last Jedi, and it was never answered.
It was like, you're nobody.
Yeah, it was absolutely ridiculous. Just Rian Johnson going, you know what? I'm not going to do that. I'm going to do this. It's like, oh, for God's sake, So no, we're not. You're not getting that in this story. You are getting a definitive answer to where she came from, who she is, why she's the way she is, who her parents are. Even if she has parents, she may not even have parents. Who knows? But her origins are not what anyone would expect.
Okay.
They are not. They're not. If you've got a theory, or if you had a theory about her, it's probably going to be wrong. So, and I've taken a lot of inspiration from Rebels and Clone Wars with her origins, where she came from and her past, things like that.
Awesome.
She's. I will drop this nugget for people that are listening, and I try not to spoil anything. And you have to be so careful with saying the tiniest little thing, because it can ruin an entire plot in Star Wars. If they drop just the one wrong thing, you can ruin the whole thing, can unravel everything before anyone's read the story. I will say that there are ties with her origins and the Night Sisters and Mother Talzin.
Oh, interesting. Oh, yes.
But not necessarily what you think. I'll say that.
Okay.
Okay.
But I'll say Dathomir is in the story at one point.
Oh, wow.
Very cool.
Yeah, I mean, that's another thing. When talking about how things got ruined, that was a pretty cool part of Clone Wars, and then to have, what was it? Which one was it? Was it the Acolyte?
Mm-hmm.
When they kind of touched it and not in the right way, man. It's just
like, the witches. Yeah.
It's like, this is no. It's like taking like some really well thought out and established thing and then just kind of like changing it for meta reasons. And
exactly,
come on.
They had all this stuff that they could have done great things with, and they kind of just either didn't do it the right way or didn't do it at all.
Well, I do have. Oh no, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, sorry. No, I was just going to say, just going to add at the end that it's just obvious that the people they got in, like Leslie Headland, didn't have a clue as to the material they were working with, even though they declared that they loved everything Star Wars and they want to live in the universe in perpetuity and whatever. They didn't know a damn thing. It was all just a load of. They were just gassing on for the camera, just so they could get a Star Wars project, which was just a step up to get a job in Hollywood. That's all it was for these people.
Yeah. Well, we are going to come back. I do have a couple more questions. And they're going to be things that I think an author such as yourself will really dig into. But we do have some things that we like to do a little bit for entertainment, just for fun. I don't know if you've seen the stream before, but on Earworms now and then, we do this thing called the Reliable AI, which is basically pitting artificial intelligence against animal intelligence. And the way we do that is we try to determine whether certain imagery is AI imagery or if it's an actual photograph or artwork. Could be artwork too. But did a human being photograph that or make it, or was that AI generated? Now, you are quite a master of AI, so I think you'll be really good at this. And plus, since I use, I don't pay for any AI. I pretty much use Stable Diffusion. Some of it's pretty easy to spot, but we'll see here. As we go on with this. So here we go. This will be our first one. And would this be Princess Leia? Now, remember, we are looking for whether this is from a photo or if this is AI generated. I know it's a little small, but I'm hoping it's not too small.
Ooh, what do you think, chat? That is Princess Leia.
Yeah, you think so?
Yes.
Well, I mean, of course it's Carrie Fisher, but I just put in Leia because it's less wordy. All right, we're good on that one. How about this one?
No.
Yeah, that looks like AI to me.
Well, some AIs maybe kind of know who you're talking about.
I don't know what's going on with her hands and what she's holding. That's just bizarre.
Well,
All right.
that's what this segment's about. It's really about that.
Yeah.
How about this one?
You could. Well, what's the giveaway point of this photo? I wonder.
We have learned tonight that you can get 6 fingers without being an AI generated photograph. On Mr. Brown Alliance, we learned about that. I think I'm going to have to make these bigger. The low res isn't helping.
No.
That one looks real to me.
How about you, Liza?
Looks real.
All righty.
It's like the real thing.
So far, the animal intelligence is working out. How about this? Is this Princess Leia and Jabba?
This.
What is that?
That's what I got when I typed in Princess Leia and Jabba the Hutt.
Oh my god. Maybe modern day Star Wars, yes, but
If this creators of Velma decided to do it,
it does look like that. You're absolutely right.
Yikes. Oh my gosh. It's obscene too. Gosh.
What?
You pay attention, like, move along.
Oh god, yeah, quick. The next one.
Move to the next one. The hell? Oi.
I mean, I kind of give it to AI for creating new characters because that's not nothing I've seen before.
Yeah, if you want to make I don't know what you would call that, but if you wanted to make a groomer children's puppet show type of thing.
That's like 5 different characters merged into one, isn't it? That one. None of them are pretty.
Well, okay, let's move along here, and
that's from the holiday special.
Oh yeah, it's burned into our memory.
Yeah, we thought it would be fun to do that. I mean, we thought it'd be fun, but actually, it was painful in December. When
the holiday special is what happens when people don't say no to George Lucas.
Well, he wasn't really involved. He just gave it away, and
oh my god, I thought it was his project. Wow, okay, you've taught me something.
Yeah, no, he basically gave it away. I mean, he just wanted more.
He wasn't paying attention.
He wanted to make sure that the audience didn't forget Star Wars between the first film and Empire.
Someone should have said no to George Lucas to give it away then in that case.
Yeah, I think it was CBS just asked to do it. I mean, he didn't give it away. He just let them do it. And he didn't really watch over it.
He didn't keep tabs on it. No, it shows.
No. Yeah. Yeah. But the thing is, we've seen it a few times, but we thought it'd be funny if we just did it as a live stream, and it was painful.
It was painful.
I regretted it afterwards because I was like, I thought the laughing would just carry us through, but no. It didn't.
No, the laughing ended very, very quickly. It's it's painful. It's painful.
You know, you sometimes get those channels on YouTube. They're kind of surrealist comedy, but they're not really funny. They're more kind of scary, like a bad acid trip or something like that.
Yes.
That's earworms.
Yeah.
That's earworms.
There's a channel called Don't Hug Me, I'm Scared, which I'm sure a lot of people know. It's got a load of Muppet-style characters in it, and their stories are just the weirdest thing you've ever seen. And they should be funny, but they're just weird. They really creep you out. And the holiday special is basically that in Star Wars form.
Yep.
Well, anyway, we have possibly Luke on the screen here.
That definitely is the real Luke.
Yep.
All right.
Agreed.
And we move on. How about this one?
That's Stable Diffusion Luke.
Yeah, by the look of it.
Well, yeah, I guess I can see that.
His face is kind of slightly melted. It's getting longer.
What's happening there?
Something's happening with his hand, and it's not real. Whatever it is.
I think the lightsaber is his hand.
Yes, he's missing a hand. Oh.
And there we go.
I think we all know that one's real.
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
Whoa. Okay.
Are they swapping outfits here? What's going on?
What did you ask for here, mister?
I keep them simple. I just had a picture of Luke Skywalker and Darth Vader.
What is this thing thinking?
It's trying to avoid copyright infringement, so I think it's...
Is it?
I don't know. I'm just kidding. I don't know what the hell it is. I mean, it's search engine results that get morphed together, but without, any kind of artistic direction,
Father, I won't join the dark side, but I really like your outfit. Great son, try on my cloak.
Ay.
Oh man, yeah, it looks like what's his name, Kylo Ren, like cosplaying as Darth Vader.
Yeah.
Yes.
Alrighty, and is this Luke and Leia?
Oh wow, yeah, that's. I've seen some crazy AI shots in my time. That one's just like the weird ones I saw about a year and a half ago.
Yeah, well, I don't pay for it, so I don't get any of the good ones. But I just use it for this segment. That's it. And how about that? Ooh, man, that looks like that came right out of the drawer. Some old photograph hidden away.
That looks like a genuine cosplay photo.
Well, it is. I guess what I said influenced you. Probably the blurriness isn't helping, but that is an AI generation of Luke and Leia
at
a Renaissance fair.
A Renaissance.
If you put that in anything you ask AI to do, if you put at a Renaissance fair in at the end, it does make it look a little bit better.
Yeah, because I guess it puts it in realistic light. I suppose the lighting helps.
A little bit.
You gave it a context, but sometimes it adds fingers and
or iterations of Luke.
We have the Skywalker quintuplets right here.
Yes.
No, 3 Lukes, 2 Leias. And I did not ask for that many. Wow. All right, we're going to finish this up now.
That kind of gets weird at one point. If you look that gets really weird.
Yeah, that's like the grand finale. If you look at it with a detailed look at it and try to think why it does the hand gestures it does, why it does the facial, I don't know, why it does the faces it does, you could say, all right, I kind of see it, but it just doesn't work. All right, we're done with that. It's time to learn about a good story. So what I was going to ask you next, and I'm going to click on this so that people can see the channel and stuff too. Snoke. Now that's one thing that the Force Awakens kind of left pretty much up in the air is Snoke. So as an author, that was almost like a gift. It's like, if I'm picking up here,
sure,
you had a lot of freedom. So what was your vision for Snoke?
Well, if I told you that, I'll ruin everything. But
okay.
I'll see what I can. I'll try and give you a little bit at least. He's not what everyone thinks he is. We're not getting another Palpatine.
Not Darth Plagueis.
He's not Plagueis. He's not a Sith. He's not another Palpatine. He's something completely different. What else can I say without ruining it? He's been around for a very, very, very long time. He has, like they said in The Force Awakens, he's seen empires rise and fall. He's seen the landscape of the galaxy change over eons, and the scars and marks that we saw on him that everyone's going like, what is this guy's story? He's seen some shit, obviously. That all gets explained. all of that gets explained, and the reason why he looks the way he does, the way he sounds the way he does. You know, he's got this very sort of breathy, almost asthmatic tone to his voice. That's kind of not necessarily spelled out, but you understand why in the story. That's the reason for his demeanor, his disposition, the way he's just pure hate embodied, personified. That is dealt with. That's all. All that story comes into it. Not in episode 8, but in episode 9. That's all explained, because it goes to a place in the galaxy where you can't escape that explanation of characters and things like that. So that happens. That's how it's all rounded out at the end of the story. So that's all part of that. And it's kind of one of those things where stay on board, and these mysteries will be explained to you by the end of the story, kind of thing, you know. But we were promised all these things in the films, and we were never given them. And what we were given was the absolute garbage in episode 9 of, oh, he's just a clone of Palpatine or whatever. That was it, you know. And they didn't even explain that properly. So it's nothing to do with any of that whatsoever. There's no cloning involved. There's no easy get outs and easy explanations for his character whatsoever. I have gone in deep. I have gone in complicated. I have gone in multi-layered, and I have gone in mysterious, and I have gone in completely unexpected. No one's going to see this coming whatsoever. You're going to have to really go outside the box with this character of who he is, where he comes from. And I'll say this. I'll give you this. One thing that was very controversial about the prequels that George Lucas introduced were the midichlorians.
Yes.
And everyone either wanted to stay away from the midichlorians or never mention them again. But I thought that was a very interesting opportunity to develop story. And I've incorporated them in a way into this. Not in a way that they're the what's responsible for the Force. They aren't the Force or anything like that. They act as what's described in the story as an antenna. They boost the signal for the Force, basically. So a person's midichlorian count means the more midichlorians they have in their body means the higher the signal that or the higher the connection they have to the Force. So
G4 or G5.
So these things are actually communicating constantly with the Force and with people, and Snoke is intrinsically linked in with that process. That's his origin, if you like. And I won't give any more information than that, but that's the kind of outside box thinking I'm going for with this character.
Wow.
Cool. Yeah, I mean, I just felt like in The Force Awakens, like him just being there was like, okay, you just wanted to have a Vader-like character, and then via, some communications at a distance, have some sort of Emperor-like character that he works for. And that's basically what you were looking for, and that's all you did. And that's it. And there was like, I don't know. And of course, the explanation they came up with later just didn't really hold water. But yeah, I mean, that's what I felt like at the end of The Force Awakens was like, wait a minute, this is too much of a parallel.
Yeah. Exactly.
Now we know that there is such a thing as like the rule of two, with the Sith, but they didn't even really. I mean, we just didn't have enough. I mean, I can understand giving Snoke some mystery, but you need to have enough to know. I mean, you need to have enough to know, like, how is this lining up with everything else? Because it's already a pre-established story so far, and there's like its own lore and everything to it as well. So I felt like Snoke was something that's just kind of plopped there.
Yeah, that's right. They needed a character to fill that gap, so they just
and that's it. Yeah. So, that being said, is there anything you want to tell us about your take on Kylo Ren?
I was just about to actually mention that. One of the things I sat down and did when I first started noting ideas down when I first started back in 2018. Was that before you attempt a story, the fundamental foundation is motivation. You need every character's motivation before you write one word. You need to know what these people want. You need to know where they're coming from, where they're going, what they want to achieve, and if they have any burning desire inside them, what that is. and what's going to take them through this ordeal and make them see it through to the end. So Kylo Ren needed one, Snoke needs one, Rey needs one, Finn needs one. They all need one. Every single character. Luke needs one. We've got a new story arc for Luke. This is completely new thing that Luke's going out on this limb here from what's happened before. This is a new mission for him. It's almost like him starting over again from when we see him in The Force Awakens. Not The Force Awakens, what am I saying? When we see him in A New Hope, and he's staring out at the horizon, and you see the sunsets and everything. And that's the very, very beginning of his Odyssey. And it's this big, huge adventure, that this mountain he's going to climb, and this is another one. And he's starting another one right in this story. He's finished what happened before, and he's starting another one now, and that is motivated from what went wrong at the end of his last one. So it's almost like he has to fix what happened. And yes, his Praxeum, as I call it, his Jedi Academy was destroyed, and we're all led to believe certain things about that incident from the previous movie, but that isn't necessarily what happened. And Kylo Ren falls into that. And I've dropped nuggets in these few episodes. If you're savvy enough to spot them, you might get a few clues as to what actually happened. And the motivation behind Kylo Ren is not, I don't know what Kylo Ren's motivation was in the movies, to be honest with you. But in this, it's he is paranoid, I guess is one word, that he's going to lose his power because he's had a bad experience in the past, which he blames on Luke. And Snoke was kind of his salvation at that point, which is the reason he went to the dark side, because he was led to believe what was happening around him was bad and evil, and it might actually be that case. We don't know yet. You have to read the rest of the story to find out. But his motivation is he genuinely believes he's doing the right thing. And he's not trying to be evil. He's not trying to just be a bad person and trying to be against the good guys. He genuinely thinks he's doing the right thing. And if that means going to the dark side, if that means immersing himself in evil and doing evil things, it's a means to an end. And he'll do it to achieve his ultimate goal. And he literally thinks that Vader was a virtuous being and was trying to do something good for the galaxy. Ultimately, and he was trying to almost destroy the evil forces from the inside out, and Kylo Ren's got a similar attitude and a similar angle on it, but different. Also, he's very fragile emotionally in a lot of ways, and very, very strong character and very strong-willed, but he's also got a lot of cracks in his foundations. So the right thing or the wrong thing from his perspective could happen and can completely derail him at any moment. So it adds this kind of wild card element and this unpredictable element, and you don't quite know what he's going to do. And we see him as there is a leash on his neck that Snoke is holding, but the conditions for that leash aren't necessarily what you might expect, and also they could change at any moment. So he isn't just another Vader. I've tried to give him a bit more of a dynamic and a bit more depth than just make another Vader character.
Or a fanboy.
Or a fanboy. Yeah, there is a reason he's not. They tried to make him out as a fanboy in the movies, but I've made him out. There's a lot more depth to him. He's got a lot more. He's a lot smarter than that, and he's a lot. He wants to know the dark side intimately, as deep as he can get. That sounds a bit rude, doesn't it? But he's got this obsession with learning everything there is to know about the dark side, so he can use it to make things right, if you like, and maybe take Snoke down, or maybe set up his own empire or whatever. But he's got these goals going on, and Snoke is kind of aware of everything because Kylo Ren doesn't realize how smart Snoke is, and he doesn't realize the extent of Snoke's powers, and Snoke knows everything he's thinking. So it's complicated. It gets complicated, but it's all explained as the story goes on, and there are little bits that are dropped here and there, so you get an idea gradually of what's happening. But his story arc is quite different to Vader's or any other dark side, inverted commas, Sith character that we've come to know so far.
Mm-hmm. Well, and I think that it deserved that, because if you have Han and Leia, their son turns to the dark side, just as a simple thing, that's something that needs to be treated with a lot of care and a lot of quality, which we didn't get
Not at all.
in what they did with
Yeah.
the Disney version, and just having flashbacks about it, it's like, no, that turn is the important thing. That is what something would really want, some good author would really want to write about.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, and I thought the whole thing of him just reacting and turning to the dark side, all because Luke walked into his hut with his lightsaber. I just thought, this is ridiculous. Come on, seriously, this just wouldn't happen. Luke would be forever the diplomat. He'd sit down and chat to him. He'd talk to him. They'd talk it through. They'd all find out it was a big misunderstanding or whatever, and Luke be able to talk him through these dark thoughts he's having or whatever. So I've kind of negate all of that happens in The Last Jedi, and it's a lot more of an understandable switch from light to dark for him, and it's happening over a long period of time. It's not just one thing that happens and pushes him to the dark side. It's something that happens over quite an extended period, and it is to do with Snoke, and it is to do with Luke, and it gets complicated, but and I can't say more than that, and it's annoying because I really want to.
Yeah. Okay. No, that's
ruin it for everybody.
That's a great way to leave it, because the main thing we want, and I'm going to put this up here, is we do want people to go and check out Star Wars Retold. Link is in the description, but you can also just type that in. It's the username, so you should be able to find the channel that way. It's a very simple, elegant name for the project that you're doing, and it'll be easy to find. So I think you did a great job there.
Yeah,
it's good. It's a good opportunity to jump on. There's not too many episodes, so you're not going to get swamped.
Yep. And I'm definitely going to be concluding these 4 tonight, and and just listening to the sound design, it is such an enjoyable experience. I mean, you know the characters from their voices, and you kind of like hear the scenery, so you can visualize where you're at and what's happening. And and it's Star Wars stuff. It's not like just some space sounds. You know what I mean? It sounds like the real ships. It sounds like the real things, like blasters and stuff, guns. It sounds like the ones from the movies. In fact, there probably are ones from the movies. So it's like, it's a great experience. So please check that out, folks. And I don't know. I think we could probably be starting to wrap up now. Are there any final questions, or like, Liza, do you have any, or is there
well,
any
I'm ready to purchase my first Star Wars Retold T-shirt, and I will finish watching what's available on YouTube very quickly. I'm very excited, very enticed. So
I'm very honored to hear that. Thank you very much.
All right. Well, we really appreciate you taking the time. We know it's late over there, and we appreciate you taking the time. And really, anytime you'd like to come on, please let us know.
I'm sure I will.
Absolutely.
I appreciate the invite. It's been absolutely amazing. I've enjoyed every second.
No, we gotta keep in touch. I know it's I don't always use X as much, anymore, but like I did in the last summer. But I gotta keep in touch with you, because you're doing some great stuff, and it's fun streaming with you.
Yeah, absolutely. You too. And when I've got a few more episodes under my belt, I'll definitely come back and probably have a few more questions to ask by that point.
Sounds great. Oh, and I forgot earlier, Stitch. Thank you very much for the super chat. Oh man,
Stitch and Flav.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and Flav. But Stitch, this is the one I forgot to mention, because we were in a discussion at something important with the author at that time, and then I just totally whiffed on it when this is pretty cool. He mentioned that his contribution is going to help you get some more furry outfits.
Yeah.
So I'm looking forward to that.
Stitch, why do you give him ideas? Yeah.
All right, folks. Well, thank you all for joining us, chat and swap shop. Yeah, if I'm tired now, I can only imagine how you feel. So we're gonna
I've
let
become
you
a bit of
go.
a night. I've become a bit of a night owl with this, with all this work. So I'm kind of okay at the
I
moment.
bet.
If I get off the stream, I might start fading. But I'm determined to finish off this episode before I go to bed. So yeah,
Yeah,
I'm still
and
awake at the moment. The adrenaline's still running.
dude, if you want to do some things on your channel, you want to do some live streaming and so forth, I'd be happy to help you out. You know,
Oh, that'd be great.
you need an extra voice or something like that.
That's superb.
I'd be, I,
I've not thought about the live stream thing, but I think that probably will happen at some point. When I get a certain amount of subscribers and I know there's going to be an audience, I'll go for it and see what happens.
Yep. Yeah, because people enjoy talking about it, and for a chat, you can feel involved even if you're not on the panel. You feel involved, just being able to like ask some questions or to shoot out some ideas and have somebody hear about it. Because in many ways, I think we're all kind of coming up with in our heads how we felt. This overall story could have been better.
Mm-hmm.
And you've just actually taken the initiative and you've made it happen.
Yeah.
By making your episodes 8 and 9 as books and now as audio dramas. So
Yeah. I guess no one's done that before. I guess that's a first, maybe.
You may be
Well,
the first. Wow.
well,
Yeah.
those who've done things like that before have been like in the expanded universe. You're kind of like taking your own path.
Sure. It's a
And
new direction. Yeah.
yeah. And so, well, we're looking forward to more coming out. And I
Yes.
think what we'll do is I'm probably going to do this. I'm going to hear the audio dramas and then after the fact, maybe ask you to check out the books. And we'll see if at that point maybe you have them released in a different form or something like that, like a published form and everything. I hope that does happen.
Sure. I'll
And
see what I can do.
so
Yeah.
if that happens, I'd be glad to purchase a copy and everything. But I think I'll do the radio dramas first and then get the deep insight to the story from the author's
Mhm.
written hand and do that after.
It's definitely something I might consider. Those is in parallel. Do like a narrated version too, for anyone that wants an almost a different format, I guess, to the full cast audio drama. Just have like a narrated version. See what people prefer.
Well, yeah. I mean, like I said before, when I listen to audiobooks, it's mostly because of the vision thing, but the whole thing is with the difference between an audiobook and an audio drama is in the book you're describing everything, and so people are listening to your words and getting a full description of the setting as well as characters, the way they act. Like authors will describe how their facial features look, how their stance is, how they carry themselves, and that's a big part of conveying certain things about the character and their actions without making it obvious. And a lot of times when you're hearing words come into your ears and you're visualizing it based on the words you're hearing, you're kind of like creating things and maybe some details. And there's something to be said about that experience because it's like the words are becoming your imagination rather than the sounds you're hearing alone.
Exactly. That's right. Yeah.
So, all right. Now that I put everybody asleep, I think we'll say good night. All right, folks. Well, I'll stay in touch with you, sir, and let me know anytime.
Thank you very much. Thanks to the chat as well. Good you all joining us there. Thanks very much.
All right.
Good night.
Right.
We got to have you back for sure.
Definitely.
Oh, absolutely. I'd love it. Thanks.
I'm going to clear the stage if I can. And me. And then we have
water. Just so many ways to enjoy it. Almost everyone swims through it, rides on it, or plays around it. It's fun. Accidents do happen. Many could be avoided. Still, others kept harmless if people were safety-minded. Safety means having the right equipment and skills. Your Red Cross chapter can help with information and instruction, so give them a call and be safe.
This weekend on The Late Show, an attack of gnawing terror. 11:30 Saturday, Willard rules a powerful rat army.
You made me hate myself. Well, I like myself now. Tear 'em up!
Saturday, 11:30 Sunday, the rats are hungry again.
I want every train in this city examined. 1,150 miles of fight? Every inch of it.
Where Willard ended, Ben begins. Willard and Ben, two gnawing terrors on Channel 4 beginning at 11:30 on The Late Show.
And one of the most important things I learned is you don't become a star overnight. It really takes a lot of hard work to get there. Now what I want to do, Ronnie, is give you a few tips on defense. Now you're going to run a sweep around me and I'm going to try to stop you. You watch how I stop you.
He's no Larry Zonka, but he's a terrific big brother.
How did he do that?
Share yourself with a kid. Share yourself with a kid.
On Thursday, November 13th, CBS proudly presents a major motion picture event. Sylvester Stallone as the fighter whose whole life was a 1,000,000-to-1 shot. Talia Shire as the woman who loved him and believed in him. Winner of 3 Academy Awards. Rocky. Thursday at 8, 7 Central and Mountain.
Tomorrow on CBS.
This concludes another day of programming on Channel 4. Before signing off, we'd like to invite you to start every day with WTVJ and enjoy a world of entertainment coming your way over Florida's pioneer television station, WTVJ, Channel 4, Miami. Ladies and gentlemen, our national anthem.